Feelings Friday, it's Feelings Friday. Mary's Poetry Extravaganza, feelings not for little babies. It's not a very good theme song, I recognize. I'll work on it. It'll be genius. It'll top the charts. Move over, Taylor Swift. Just kidding. I don't like starting beef. Welcome to this week's prompt. This week's prompt is letters. I'm so excited to dive into it with you. I've been very excited about this prompt. But first we have to recap last week's prompt. Last week's prompt was uninvented inventions, and I shared you Shira Ehrlichman's poem that I love so dearly. And I picked a couple of my favorites. Your submissions were awesome, and you guys are brave and delightful, and let's do it. Okay, this first poem, and I took excerpts from these because I'm not going to read them all, but I loved them. Anyway, okay, this is from Chelsea M. Her poem, her uninvented invention was perception optics. That's what it was called. That was a cool name. We could all use them, being able to see yourself the way others view you, not just physically either, to know what their thoughts are about you, to feel the impact you had on them. Some people only learn hands-on. Maybe society will finally be willing to understand before they hate. How cool is that? That made me think, too, what are the negative implications of that? Like, people that are already, at least for me, like, I'm so analytical of my own head all the time. Like, why did I do that? What was my motivation? What's my intention? And then to think about, like, I also think that of other people when they're walking around. I'm like, why, what triggered your behavior? And I'm like, I'm a little too analytical for my own good sometimes. And I think all the time about what people mean and their intentions, and so I don't think that that would be a good invention for me, but I definitely think that YouTube commenters could learn a thing or two from perception optics. That's what I will say about that. The second one, I loved this poem. This was from Morgan F., and I took two excerpts from that. I loved it. She said, "What I need is something to send a buzz through my bloodstream. When I am writing love poems for someone who could never appreciate a strong stanza, I need a ringing in my ears when I am wasting minutes of my day on someone whose brain does not tingle with my name. Name it what you want. I call it my own personal revolution." So cool. I imagine, like, drop the mic, personal revolution. So cool. Okay, the third one was from Molly H., called Tunnel Vision. A moment two souls can lock onto another and see the truth behind our human form. We can reach each other from the purest, deepest levels of time and space, crossing cultures, mountains, gender, ocean, the sun, and the reality we call home to see our soul, who we are. I thought that was a beautiful sentiment, and I know there are times when, I don't know, you want so badly to connect with someone on the other end, and there's like, some people have walls up, you know, and it's hard to connect, and how cool would it be if we could just see the actual form of a soul? That was a really beautiful sentiment. Thank you, Molly H. Thank you, everyone, for your submissions. I'm excited to see this week's as well. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to start first with the instructions in case you would like to stop this video as soon as you can. I understand. So these are the instructions. Number 1, think of an inanimate object. It doesn't have to be inanimate. Like, you could be like, oh, yay, you know, Kanye's foot. I don't know why you would want to think of Kanye's foot. Maybe he has nice feet. I'm not sure. I don't have a foot thing. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, think of an object. Something you like looking at. Sorry. Think of an object. Something you like looking at, eating, touching, something that speaks to you, something that you know would enjoy writing a poem about. And some examples are a bridge would be a good poem to write about, shoes, a ceiling fan, a mango. And now think of a second object, one that interacts with your first object. Example would be a skyscraper to a bird, coffee to my mouth. ocean to cruise ship, gluten-free pie to my mouth. I'm hungry. This isn't helping. But anyway, so this poem is going to be about object relationships. So we are going to personify one object, personify a second object, and then this will be a letter from one to the other. And if you want, you can write a response from the second object to the first object. So in case this is complicated, which is why I called it Not for Little Babies, because we're doing real poetry here. And so this is a poem that I got this idea from. This is from Rose McAleese, from her book called Strong Female Character. And this poem is called Match in Flame, which you would assume those are the two objects. Letter from match to a flame. They told me this was a coming-of-age thing, a rite of passage, that this is what is supposed to happen, but I am beginning to question the ways of the world. Why must we both go the second you are born? Our lifespan is too quick, not enough time to know each other. First we are put under such pressure, forced to spark. Does this heat ever get to you? Is this too rough for you? Does this hurt? Oh, love, the friction makes me so aware. You are split from yourself and moved to wick, one that holds you longer, one that holds you tighter. I can't help but stare and watch you go, hurrying up the walls, a wedding dress made of smoke. I watch as you linger from my tip to the ceiling. Where do you go from here? Are you locked in the vents of the floorboards? Do you soak the wallpaper with your sweat? Press yourself clean to windows, head north for the valley above. Such bitter partings, my beloved. Beautiful. Okay, this is the second poem. Letter from flame to match. You are so young, weak at heart, made of wood, Earth's best creation, man's worst conductor. You are so naive. You wish nothing more than to be their soot, their chalk, their ash. Don't you see what they do with me, what damage they make of me, what harm I am capable of? All you see is my smoke, a veil fit for a funeral. I hurry away not for the mystery, but out of shame. If only I could leave you faster. There is no beauty in my creation, my scream, a warning they should have listened to the crackle from my rush. My throat is raspy, it's hard to breathe, no need to sweeten this. You are just my maker. I met you with such disgust in mind, arranged marriage. I flicker out of struggle, not of dance. It's so good. Rose, you're so good. So what's really cool about that relationship is that, just like some personal relationships are, they're one-sided, and one person is a completely different perception of the other person, and so there's this sort of push and pull, which I thought was really neat about the response. But again, we don't have to go that complex. Just really think about two objects and their relationship to each other, and then write a letter from that one point of view. I have a link for Rose's stuff down below, and also Shira Ehrlichman's work from last week's prompt. And I want you to have fun. Make sure you give the objects life. Connect yourself to them. Give personality to the 20-year-old couch in your parents' basement that you used to smoke drugs on. I don't know. Do what you want, you know what I mean? Of course, you can always keep these poems close to your heart, but if you want to submit them, and I post my favorites, you can share them with me, and you can send them to marylambertsing@gmail.com, and I'll pick some of my favorites. I also, for this week, was really fun. I'm just going to keep going. This is a book by Mindy Nettifee called Glitter in the Blood, and I really loved this. It's a book helpful for writers, and I love this. Since I've been working on my book, I've been using this as like a helpful guide. So this is this was helpful for me just as I was writing this as well. So this is what Mindy says. Warning bells go off in me when I read or hear a poem that seems completely ungrounded in the author's real-life experiences or perspectives. It's a feeling of ickiness, akin to what I feel when I see someone co-opting another culture's belief systems without any self-awareness about it at all. See white shamanism. If you're going to write about something completely outside of your own experience, something that does not in any way belong to you, say a war you never fought in and have no personal connection to, or the small daily traumatic operas of poverty while you were living off a trust fund, if you were not even going to try to connect yourself to it in the writing, to explore textually or subtextually why you are writing about this distant thing, be prepared for something, cognitive dissonance in the reader, or worse, a direct feeling of emotional manipulation followed by a rejection of your writing and its premises. Over the course of your entire life's work, you should try on many personae and voices. You will also explore stories from history and other people's lives that capture your heart and imagination. You should write about what you want to write about. I am suggesting you do not need to borrow someone else's stories to write great poetry. You already have all the source material you need, whether you know it or not, and that's where your best work will come from. And this, although this prompt is about sort of personifying an object, I think the important thing is to stay connected to it, and you can use your own relationship struggles or something you're experiencing and sort of project, you know, how people tell you, like, don't project on this person, or don't project, you know, totally project, like, personify this thing, make it human, make it a lover, make it a friend, make it an enemy, make it your mom, make it your brother, and channel whatever you want. Anyway, you guys, this has been so much fun. I'll talk to you next week. Happy Feelings Friday!